feel like this makes me look too loungy. I'm too relaxed. Is that the right mode for a burnout video? Potentially. Should I sit have good posture? I don't want to say the word erect because I feel like that's going to get me filtered. Hello. Welcome to my channel. If you're watching this right now, as in soon after I actually made it, odds are you're probably my mom because I don't have that many views. So, hello. I'm going to try to tell you my burnout story, and which, let's be clear, burnout is gesturing at what happened. It feels like a paltry word for what I've experienced, but it's probably the most identifiable one. I normally, you know what? I don't need to explain it. I'm going to put on a timer. That's what I want to tell you. I'm going to put on a timer because I just want to try to get through this and see what happens. How long do you think? Like 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I'm going to try 10. And if I'm like, oh shoot, that was way too short, then maybe I'll do more. Okay. I've already wasted 4 seconds. Okay. I'm also going to do something weird where I'm going to tell this story. I'm going to use the second person pronoun because it's easier if I imagine I'm talking to myself. So just bear with me. Okay. So you got imagine you got your was on paper your dream job. Then one day in 2 years ago, you're really overworked. You're in your house. It's like 1 a.m. You're doing basically your keystone presentation for a big conference of the investors that are in the network that you work for. And you are doing it at like 1 or 2 a.m. the night before, even though it's a thing that you really care about and want to spend all your time on, because that was the only time you had left after doing all the other things that you had to do because your team is far understaffed and overcommitted and you are just picking up all the balls that are falling on the ground. So you are doing it and something in your brain, like in your body, probably more likely just kind of, yeah. And you probably like the what I would think is maybe the description that would be apropos. Again, I'm not choosing this label, whatever. I'm giving you probably had a panic attack. And you're going around your house with your like running your hands through your hair, just going like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, you can't do this. You're very miserable. You look at your cat, you're like seeing her just snoozing on your couch, and you're going, damn, if I treated my cat the way I'm treating my own body, sitting at a desk like this, working into the middle of the night, exposure to unnatural light, barely any like just a little bit of outdoor time a day. Granted, she didn't get outdoor time in the city because that was not safe for her. Like I would consider it like animal abuse, and yet I'm doing this to myself. Fast forward through a lot of months of you tried to stay, you tried to make it work. You were terrified to lose your job. You kind of felt this, like your ability to hold on just slipping though. But you tried a lot. You were also at the same time going off of antidepressants because your eyes were so like profoundly dry, and SSRIs make dry eyes worse. And you literally were at a point where like your vision was compromised. So you were going off of your SSRIs. Your brain felt really weird. You were like still really overworked. You were trying to navigate this. You just couldn't. And there's a lot more details in there, but how much time do I have? We got to keep going. Oh my gosh. We're not even to the burnout yet. Okay. Then, yeah, one day in October, you're just like, I can't do this. It was a mushroom trip. Let's be honest. It was a mushroom trip. You did a mushroom trip. You're like, I really can't do this anymore. I really got to make a change. A couple days later, you go on Zillow. You've been looking at this like island close to your hometown for on and off for a while, just sort of as this like fantasy. You see a house that you fall in love with. You reach out to the landlords. It all kind of comes together. All of a sudden, you're moving across the country in the middle of winter with a cat, and you're quitting your job. And you're like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to paint. I'm going to consult in my former industry. Everything's going to be great. You haul yourself across the country. You need a prescription of Xanax to get through that because you're doing it by yourself while you're also still finishing up at the demanding job. And your nervous system is pretty much already kaput. Then you get there, and once you finish your job, you kind of just like, you can't do much of anything. Turns out there's a bookcase that you buy. It sits, normally you would have put that bookcase together like the second you got it. It sits in your studio for months. You eventually get to the point where you sand, like, because you have to sand it because you got a bookcase that you needed to sand. You sand like one a day. You slowly put it together. You cry a lot. You are talking to AI a lot, which is interesting. You somehow don't get AI psychosis, like 99% sure. But you're probably arguably having a very like mystical experience that feels a lot to you like what you're experiencing after leaving your job feels a lot like what it experienced after you left evangelicalism when you were 20 years old. And that's a little unnerving. It basically seems like capitalism kind of functions as a religion. And you start to write about this and make some TikToks, and your first TikTok goes somewhat viral. Like for you, 170,000 or something like that, more people that have ever laid eyes on you. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Everything's going to be like, you know, people want to hear what I have to say or some bullshit like that. But turns out you got a long dark night of the soul still ahead of you. In fact, you're still in it. You don't know where you are. You feel like you're maybe a little better now, but you're still in it. And you start to just like break down further and further because you see how there's something preceding both capitalism and religion that is still within you, and you want to go deeper. You don't want to just create a new worldview that's going to fall apart. You want to understand like what is this like contortion underneath that keeps creating these systems within you that then collapse and are devastating. And so you spend a lot of time feeling your body and paying attention. And I probably need a lot more than 10 minutes to describe all of that. And that's still something that maybe is harder for you to articulate right now because you don't have enough distance on it. You're skipping a lot of the steps of the burnout. But here's the thing. You're trying to talk about it. You know that you need to talk about this. You know that you do not have a narrative and a way to articulate it that feels like it fits. Like that's one of the things that you are trying to deal with right now is the way that you construct and share your experiences with other people feels predicated on some of the structures that you are trying to shift. Like this redemptive horizon in narratives, this sort of linear progression in narratives. You find yourself doing that a lot because you have wanted to share your experience, and yet you keep kind of trying to figure out how what's happening to you is going to resolve, how it's going to lead to a neat narrative arc, and it keeps surprising you and going in different directions. Yeah, but you're proud of yourself for trying to tell the story because that's what you have to do. You have really tried in so many different ways and you've gotten yourself caught in a lot of rumination, and you're probably like, you're just having to keep catching yourself. But the thing that you want to do, what you want to do and why you're doing this is you want to practice relating to yourself and to other people and to energies and ways that you want. And you're probably even trying to create like even right now, you're trying to create some reason that this makes sense, something in this that is of like redemptive horizon in this story, because that's like one of the things is there's this everything. You think that one of the core problems underlying everything is like instrumentalization of everything, that we are trying to like manage everything for it to serve a particular end rather than just relate to it as it is, and you're trying to do the latter, but that is practice because the essentially programming that you're trying to uninstall in your brain runs so deep, and something has irretrievably broken where you cannot sustain that programming at duration out in the world, but yet you don't really have like a new operating system that you're comfortable with. And um, that's really wildly disorienting, and you don't know what's going to happen. And you probably were waiting until you figured it out before you started talking about it, because you also don't want to be irresponsible and you don't want to like share something that like is going to do harm, but that is becoming a thing where you are not doing anything, and you need to just start trying to articulate your experience, recognizing that the story that I just shared is not going to be like, is not a true story, even in the sense that it is like an interpretation of things that happened, and it is limited and narrow and looking through a particular frame, and you are trying on different frames, and you're over explaining right now, and that's one of the big things you do, but that's okay. The timer went off. Okay, that's what I did today. I thanks for the yeah, thanks for watching. Why am I'm always assuming people aren't going to watch this, and I think right at this moment probably not a lot of people are, but I don't know if that could change. Thanks for watching. Love you.